Okay, this is the promised I'm not a lawyer, but I play one in court story. Several people have told me they could hear the fan behind me, so I've turned it off. All right, this one is kind of lengthy, but it's fun. I got pulled over several years ago for speeding, and I pulled over into a gravel shoulder of the road. I was pulled over by a motorcycle police officer, and he wrote me a ticket for speeding. I took the ticket because this was back in the days when, as far as I was concerned, a ticket was an invitation to lawyer camp. I got to go be a lawyer for a day. I didn't mind at all getting them. So I took the ticket. And as I was leaving, I was in a pickup truck. The back end's very light. I was on gravel. I wasn't completely happy. So the tires spun. And I kicked up a lot of rocks and peppered the cop and his motorcycle with thousands of rocks. I didn't do it on purpose, but it did happen. So he pulls me over again, and he writes me another ticket for breaking traction. So when I get to court, now this is a court that I'd been in many, many times, and I won't say where, but it rhymes with Cougarland. I went up to talk to the prosecutor, and he says, "I've got a deal for you." And I go, "I'm going to beat you. You know I'm going to beat you." And he says, "No, here's the deal." He says, "I want to get a conviction on the breaking traction." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, here's listen to me. You'll like this." He says, it's a city ordinance. It won't go on your driving record, so it won't matter. And I can tell people that I got a conviction on John Ferns." I was like, "Really? It's that important?" He goes, "Sure. I'll let the speeding go. I know you'll beat it anyway. I just want a conviction on the breaking traction." I was like, "All right, so what are we going to agree to?" And he goes, "Well, what are you willing to pay?" I said, "I'll give you $1." He said, "Done. I'll take $1." So we're in front of the judge, and the judge says, "I see that you have agreed to plead guilty to breaking traction." And I said, "Yes, Your Honor." And he said, "And I see you have a $76 fine." I said, "No, Your Honor, I have $75 in court costs, and I agreed to pay a $1 fine. And frankly, anytime you want to line some police officers up and let me pelt them with rocks, I'll be happy to pay $1 again." And the judge didn't like that. But anyway, he said, "Fine, $75 court costs and $1 fine. How do you intend to pay this?" And I said, "I have no intention of paying it whatsoever." And he says, "Well, what do you have in mind then?" I said, "Well, I thought I'd do public service, or I forget the actual term. But anyway, he says, "Well, when do you think you can have this done?" And I looked at my watch and I said, "Oh, by about 2 o'clock this afternoon." At the time, I was using that same truck to drive deliveries of food for a food ministry, and two of the places that I delivered food to every day of the week was a place you could volunteer to do your community service. That was the term I was missing. And they could sign off on your community service. So I was already doing hundreds of hours of community service every week. Well, hundreds is an exaggeration, but every month for sure. So yeah, I figured I could get them to sign off just on work that I'd already done. And that afternoon, one of the places signed off on my time, and she looked at it and she goes, $76. How'd you come in for $76? People come here with 300, 3,000, something like that. I said, "Well, no, actually, it's only $1. I did it's $75 court fee costs," and I explained the story to her, and of course she laughed. But yes, I paid $1 to pepper a police officer with rocks, and the prosecutor wanted to be able to tell other lawyers, other prosecutors, that he had gotten a conviction on me. I didn't know I was that famous until he was so excited to just get a $1 conviction. But I promised a funny story, and I said I was going to do it today, so there it is. That is one of my favorite stories about being in a traffic stop. So remember, I'm not a lawyer, but I do play one in court. I'll tell you some more of those stories too. There's plenty of them, believe me. That's it for today. Bye.